Hello, my astrology friends. This is Lada from AstroLada.com, and these are your June 2025 horoscopes. June is very interesting month. We have Jupiter moving to Cancer on the 10th of June. For the last 2 years, Jupiter, the great benefactor, the one that's supposed to give abundance, growth, healing, expansion to every one of us, has been in two signs where it's very weak in Taurus and Gemini. So these qualities of growth, expansion, optimism, you can see it even around the world. They have not been so easy coming to us. But Jupiter moving into Cancer is where it's strongest. And it will stay there for a whole year till next summer 2026. So those qualities of growth, of opportunities, will multiply, will become bigger. The ability to grow and to expand will become bigger for us over the next 1 year. I mean, fertility as well. Jupiter in Cancer is very fertile. The fertility of the land, the fertility of the animals and humans themselves should improve. So should the conditions of families. Cancer rules normal families. The good qualities, the good conditions around the world for even buying real estate should improve. For maybe laws will be, Jupiter rules laws, will be accepted kind of around the world in different places. That will give more preference for families, for normal people, which is Cancer. So we have a lot of wonderful things that are going to start the inception gradually from June. But initially, before this growth, this opportunity comes to us, right in June and July, Jupiter will receive a challenging aspect from Saturn and Neptune, because simultaneously in the whole June and the whole July, we're going to have Saturn and Neptune together in the sky. This happens once every 35 years. The last time Saturn and Neptune were together was the fall of the Berlin Wall, a big, huge socio-economic change starting to happen. And so the times are, this Jupiter, yes, will help us grow, but at the same time, we have very unstable social, economic, political times. And June and July are a peak. And again, Saturn and Neptune will meet in February 2026. And so the whole 2025, 2026, even into 2027, we have this Saturn-Neptune conjunction that starts a new cycle. But it's very powerful in June and July, because it's not only Saturn and Neptune, but the Jupiter squaring them. So the three gas giants are interacting in June and July. Plus, towards the end of June, there will be a new moon. The sun, the moon, and Jupiter will align in one line like that together. While at the same time squaring, which is a challenging aspect of corrections, of growth, of some crisis, will square Neptune and Saturn. So probably the peak month of 2025, of some very important social, economic, political, and even natural events. Watch out for big natural events happening. Two of the planets, Saturn and Neptune, are in Aries fire, and the a new moon with Jupiter, the moon, and the sun, the other three super important bodies in our solar system, is happening in water, in Cancer. So there can be this play in nature between fire and water. In some places it will be water big events, in other places there will be fire big events. We don't know which, but I have to put it out there. And internally, this is the clash of water and fire within us. And what happens when water and fire bring together? It's steam. It will get steamy. It will get tumultuous. This is also volcanic energy. Volcano fire erupts and falls into water, Cancer, where the other planets are, and solidifies into something. So water and fire can create earth. They can create something new, tangible, and real. But the initial clash, it's intense. They actually, even in esoteric knowledge, we know that the battle between the creative forces happens on the verge of water and fire, where demons and angels battle each other, but they together create the reality that we have. So we have this massive epic battle of the giants, of the Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, the sun involved as well. So there'll be tension within us. Imagine water is emotions, fire, it's so fire is an impulse to act, so the emotions will be very intense. There will be a lot of emotionalism in our reactions. So be aware of that. And because Jupiter is the desire to expand, to grow, optimism, faith, Saturn is the impulse to block that. So there will be moments of I feel very high and excited and inspired in June and into July, and moments where I feel the energy of Saturn. So seesaw, optimism, pessimism. Yes, I can do it. New inspiration. A new moon aligns with Jupiter, the sun, and moon in the first degrees of Cancer on the 26th approximately of June. And that's a powerful impulse for new beginning to fructify, to give birth. Cancer is a very motherly sign, creative sign, to give birth of something new that is, it will be very fruitful. But we have to overcome some challenge, and it might be the challenge of reality. Saturn rules the rules of the world, the materialistic obstacles we need to overcome, or the materialistic laws and rules that we have to follow in order to fulfill these new visions. Because definitely Jupiter in Cancer wants to give birth to something brand new, beautiful, very expansive and very fruitful. But at the same time, specifically in June, we have to overcome some obstacles. And this energy, how we're going to feel it collectively and internally. First, the markets, the financial situation can be quite crazy in June and into July. They can be, every time Saturn squares Jupiter, in the last year, we had it 2 times over the last 12 months. We always had the markets plummet because there's some rearrangement of layers. So we can expect something like that, similar as well. Also in personal financial circumstances, some rearrangements of layers and uncertainty, or having to overcome some obstacles as well. But generally, what Saturn square Jupiter is asking us to do is to build something new on the something, maybe, breathe new life into old plans. Saturn is something old. Jupiter is something new because it's just starting a new cycle into Cancer. And so we need to breathe something new into the old plans, or we can bring new something new wants to be born out of the old, but maybe through a crisis, because we have this square. And the other way we can see this energy playing out is we need to sacrifice something. Saturn Neptune conjunction, it's about sacrificing or giving up something in order to allow another area of our life to grow up. So if you have such themes in your life, no matter where it is, just know is that this big battle between all those planets here. Give up something or sacrifice so we can grow in a different direction of life. It's okay. Another way Saturn Jupiter square can play out is to realign your plans and goals, especially in business, especially the ones that are about the worldly achievements, because Saturn and Jupiter rule the external world, your goals, and realign them to make them more practical. And especially Saturn squaring Jupiter asks us to kind of pare down somehow our endeavors and concentrate our energies on some kind of more practical or fewer projects, or more high quality projects. So instead of big number, so if you spread yourself thin in a few places, you're doing a few things. Now it will be the time, June and July, paring down, just focusing on the really high quality projects or really high quality decisions in your life, and removing certain excess ones. So there is this concentration, but also whittling down of excess, whittling down of too many things, to focus on something very high quality, because Jupiter in Cancer is very high quality something, but just not too many things. And another way it can play out as well, and it's to cut down your liabilities, because Jupiter can also indicate expenses where we spend too much time or money or energy or emotions that is basically a liability, that it's a waste. Saturn will show us what is a waste to remove it when it's squaring Jupiter. So really beautiful things will come through Jupiter in Cancer, but more towards the second part of the year. More will start feeling it when Jupiter becomes visible and stops squaring Saturn, which is from August. Those opportunities will become easier to grow into, to expand. This very powerful growth of Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter is the strongest there. Growth, abundance, wealth. Jupiter rules all of those things. Joy, happiness. But June and July, it's still it's time where you whittle down, where you spread yourself too thin, extra expenses, extra liabilities, where you've been overdoing, where you have been overspending yourself thin, or overspreading yourself thin, or overspending will come under scrutiny during that time. But this is the preparatory stage for something big and something wonderful that you'll be blessed with over the next 1 year. So even if you have moments of uncertainty now in June and July, moments of like a crisis, like in a battle between light and darkness, between confidence and because Jupiter symbolizes to have faith, to be full of confidence, and Saturn is kind of like putting a brake on it or making you question what is realistic, what is not. But there will be some new ideas that are born, especially towards the end of the month, of very powerful new circumstances that are born and opportunities into your life towards the end of June, after the new moon in Cancer, while at the same time it will require either sacrifice or scrutiny or some real alignment and rearrangement of your other plans and other responsibilities, so you can focus on the things that are really important. And the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, I'll speak a lot more about it in the July videos, but it is happening. I think worldwide it will be very strongly activated in June, because Jupiter and the new moon trigger this conjunction in June. So watch out for big geopolitical, social, economic, big shakeups and new beginnings as well, because these are cardinal signs. Cancer and Aries, these are signs of new beginnings. Cardinality means to new circumstances, new beginnings. But because they're at a square, it's like you're moving forward with new beginnings. But I always love to give this example, but the cart is moving forward. Big spin of the wheel is happening, but the wheels of the cart are square. So, so the journey starts like that. Rough. Yes, new things start, but it's a rough start. And it's normal sometimes, it's I also, Saturn Jupiter is when you can curb certain overindulgent behaviors of yourself. It can be addictions, because Jupiter can be like overdoing something, and the initial stages are difficult. It's about retreating from society, going through the pains of not having what you usually indulge with. But after that, the abundance and the growth and the reward follows. Maybe I think we'll start seeing it from August. Whatever sacrifice we did, whatever more difficult choices we have to make now in June and July, and to prioritize in some direction. After that, especially September, October, November, December, such wonderful things are coming collectively to the world and individually, because in June starts the square of Jupiter and Saturn. But in towards the end of the year, so let's say the autumn in the northern hemisphere, Saturn and Jupiter hold a trine for 2 months. So there will be a big reward as well, big growth. But the new beginnings are now a little bit rougher, with some difficult decision, but they can be extremely, and down the line, they will be extremely productive, helpful, and let's say rewarding, especially if you do the hard work now. When Saturn and Jupiter, they require to keep a very moral principle stance of yourself. All right. So, and Saturn, Neptune, what can we talk about it? Again, it is connected to natural disasters as a possibility. It is connected to big political world events that will change. But this cycle lasts 35 years ahead. So we'll just see the seeds now of it. Because it's in Aries, it will be new political moves, new leaders, new direction of economics overall that will start just like when Saturn and Neptune joined last time in the early 90s, late 80s. The Berlin Wall fell, the communist regime in Eastern Europe fell. It was a brand new world. And the whole map, geopolitical, economically, will be rewritten over 2025 and 2026 through the Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries. It might be in very harsh ways as well, through very strong leaders or very unapologetic means, because Mars, Aries, doesn't touch lightly. It's like, does, uses force, basically. But there is another way to describe the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which starts in Neptune in June and July. It's your ideals, which is Neptune, your belief systems, which is Neptune, will form and will be able to lay the foundations of something tangible and real, which is Saturn. A friend of mine had a vision about this combination, and she says it was given to you. I have very psychic friends. She wrote to me and says there was a message from Spirit towards you. And she said, I don't understand it, but it's for you. And she says, the waters you have chosen will build shores where there was none before. And I said, this is Saturn-Neptune conjunction that is just starting. The waters you've chosen, the emotional alignments, your beliefs, the water rules this, your beliefs, your ideals, and will determine, and also your, imagination. The waters is imagination, your inner world, your inner vibration, your soul qualities will build and will be able now to build shores where there was none. So you can create out of thin air, which is kind of Neptune, out of the imaginative, the idealistic world, the ideas in your mind, your inspirations, your dreams, you can make them into reality. And not just in June, July, this is a 1-2 year process, but it's starting now. What ideals are you going to get now? And how are you going to manifest them? Or what kind of inspiration, Neptune, are you going to receive now? Very rare. It's not going to happen again for 35 years. And how are you going to fulfill it? And let's start with the 12 signs, but I also have prepared for you Uranus in Gemini, which happens in July. A 5-hour webinar with 100 pages PDF with absolutely every possible aspect. Say if you're Leo, Venus in Leo, or Moon in Sagittarius, Uranus will oppose you, sextile you. What does it mean for you? And how Uranus in Gemini will affect you for the next 8 years. And I give, even for the hard aspects, very optimistic outlook, what to look and what to expect for the final result, because the final result is what we're looking here, not the turbulence of the transit itself. But so you can keep the goal and the purpose, the spiritual and even material purpose of this, what it is. So you make sense of Uranus, because when Uranus affects us, everything changes in the life, everything suddenly. Without the warning, bam, one day is one way and the other day your reality is different. So you can check it out. It's only $19, $20 for usually something that would cost $200. I want to make it affordable for you. So if you're interested, click on the link in the description below, and you can own it. For early birds, it's $20. It becomes $30 after that. Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, June 2025. Virgo, first, we're going to have the whole month, and in July, Neptune conjunct Saturn within 1 degree. This is an epochal conjunction that happens once every 35 years. It will repeat again in February 2026, but now is the beginning. And it's happening in your 8th house. So it really wants to change that 8th house energy for you in some way. And the initial signs of what it is going to be are coming now in June. And that's, what can it be? Well, Neptune is ideals. Neptune is something you download from the invisible realm, something that is born within your soul, something like an inspiration. And Saturn is something that crystallizes it and makes it into reality. It's not just a dream anymore. It's not just a wishful thinking, but you take the steps to manifest it with practical actions in Aries. And for you, this can be in regard, and it is not going to happen just in June. As I said, you have like a couple year period where you can make this happen. And for you, this is in your 8th house, which is connected to one of the material manifestations is mutual finances, or finances in some way that are connected to you and others. It can be like pensions. It can be stock market, for example, because you pool money there with other people. It can be investment funds. It can be sponsoring of something that you want through others, through support of others, through the resources of others. So maybe you might need to, over the next couple of years, and these impulses will come to you, to combine with the resources of others. Say someone has certain skills, someone has certain ability, someone has the financial ability or the know-how, and you pull different resources, not just material, but psychological, emotional, practical skills. Those resources, pull them, and their talents from others, combine your forces with such of others to manifest it, to manifest it in some way into practical, into reality, Saturn. Or it can be some inheritance that Saturn, Neptune activate for you, which is 8th house, is the house of death and rebirth. But there might be sometimes the passing of someone, not necessarily now in June, but it might be like a whole year ahead. That leaves you some inheritance, for example, but it's not for everyone. Don't worry. It's like, don't expect someone to be dying, but I'm morally obliged to mention one of the meanings of the 8th house. So you can be prepared, and it might be a grandparent. Saturn is all the people, or it might be that you are, and your spouse or your partner, business partner, are putting resources together to build something together, to get a property, I don't know. And you have to be wiser about such things, because Saturn is to be very organized, to trim extra expenses, to cut off things that are useless or that are just wasting your energy or resources or expenses, so you can focus on this, other bigger goal, let's say. And so there might need to be, with the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, some financial sacrifices to let go of certain comforts or things, if you're a married couple, or if you have, but 8th house is kind of very financial house, even if you're a single person, because our finances are always somehow dependent on external sources, and on the social, economic, and political situation around us as well. Or for another person, 8th house can be insurances, inheritances, taxes. So something important, decision or events in June and July regarding those topics can appear in your life. On a more spiritual level, the 8th house is where we keep the internal battle between light and darkness, with our weaknesses, with it's called the battleground there. Because it's the energy of Scorpio, power struggles, battles, and within what we consider is controlling us, it might be someone toxic, or a person, or our inner obsessions of some sort. So there might be this need for internal battle that is starting to form in you Virgos. And it might be kind of quite subconscious or subdued, when externally is nothing happening, but there is an internal battle with those darker forces within you, to overcome them, not to fear them, because the ultimate goal of the 8th house is emotional strength, emotional resilience, that Saturn and Neptune ask you to manifest. It's also some secrets that can come to the surface. Neptune is also connected to secrets. Saturn wants to materialize, to make you aware, to burst the illusions, or if someone's been lying to you or misleading you, to bring it to the surface, to become aware of it. And this way you won't be held hostage anymore by a lie or deception. Also, it is about 8th house is very spiritual house. It's one of the houses of, as I said, being liberated from obsessions, compulsions. a spiritual cleansing and psychological detox of some sort. So you might feel a strong push starting from June, July to purge. Eighth house rules the colon roles. It might be doing like starting to detox, for example, opening your detox pathways. Purging not just physically, but purging psychologically and detoxing from influences that you consider toxic, that you consider unhealthy in your life. And doing it because Neptune is to release and Saturn is the power of no. So it's giving you both energies, the power of no and the cutting off Saturn and the release of Neptune. And so psychologically to be free from such influences as well. But on another level, it's, as I said, for some people, it can be about creation of wealth, big creation of wealth. It might not happen overnight. June is more tense because Jupiter is squaring Saturn and Neptune as well. But you're kind of starting to prepare the ground for you for the future. And the other big event is that Jupiter is entering your 11th house from the 10th, where it was for the last 12 months. Here, it's moving into your 11th house, where it will join, the Sun will join Jupiter there on the 26th of June, and the Moon. So very powerful, 3 huge celestial bodies aligned for a powerful new beginning, new moon towards the end of the month in your 11th house. So new inspiration can come, new circumstances connected to what? To 11th house, to your goals and dreams, to long-term goals and dreams of yours. These will unfold over the next 12 months. I think you might start seeing it, especially from August when Jupiter becomes visible. So you might get an idea or an inspiration starting now to start a new business. 11th house is very business connected. To start a new role as a social influencer, or it can bring you definitely to be more noticed socially. Or if you have business, to expand your clientele. Jupiter can do that, but again, I don't think June you'd feel that. Maybe when Jupiter becomes visible from August and then unfolding to next July 2026. So if you want to expand your business, Jupiter, or like clientele, following Jupiter in Cancer is very powerful. It will help you. It will bring you ideas how to do that. If you want to become more gainful, 11th house is the house of gains, another financial house. It will give you the ideas, and especially Jupiter is very intuitive when it's in the 11th house about what is trending, what do people want, what projects, where are the trends going financially, economically, politically. You'll be very in tune with those energies, even if you're not someone who wants to turn them into profit. But knowing what society wants now, what are the future trends, it's usually the biggest helper to succeed financially if in a business. But you might not be someone who cares about business. You might be comfortable with a salary, and you might be a student or whatever, or you might be retired. Jupiter in this 11th house will definitely help you, will expand your interest and attunement to what's happening in the world politically, socially. You might want to watch more news, or might get affiliated with some political or social organization to contribute to help the world, because you really start caring more when Jupiter is in the 11th house, what's happening in the world, how can you contribute, what can you do. And Jupiter there can really allow you over the next 1 year to make a mark or to participate more in the collective interest. Jupiter in the 11th house for many of you can mean that maybe you won't see it now, but by next July 2026, you'd have increased your income, doubled it even. Jupiter is the strongest in Cancer. So gainfulness, income, expanding. It's new goals and dreams that you can start being seeded in you right now. New inspiration for you to do. And that might require though some sacrifice, because Saturn is squaring Jupiter. If you get a new goal for the future, long-term goal, or gaining opportunity, or new social involvement, but you might have to do some sacrifice. For example, if you have a new goal or a dream, Saturn and Neptune might require to do in June and July some sacrifice financially, for example, some trimming off of the edges, of expenses and so on. Or there might be the need to sacrifice, because Saturn and Jupiter square is sacrificing something now in order for something to grow later. So it might be about your income growing later, that you have to cut off some of your other financial situation to sacrifice, or if you want your social influence to grow later and popularity or reach to more people, you might have to sacrifice something. Some eighth house can be like some bad habit or something that controls you, to give it up, to let it go, so you can fulfill some dream or goal of yours. That especially in June, this pull and push is very powerful. Or there might be some secret that you reveal that really changes your goals for the future and your long-term goals, that this dynamic that plays out. Or another way it can play out is that some friends, 11th house is friends, people in our social environment, the groups and affiliations that we belong to, online or in real life clubs, that you might have to do some certain sacrifice so you can belong to this group. Or you might discover something about existing friends that allows you to purge them, to make space for new ones. But in June, July, maybe you might remove some friends or people that you follow on social media, or some social interactions, or colleagues, even the 11th houses, all of those things. You might have to remove some, because Saturn is making square from the 8th house of purging, and burst some illusions and bubbles, if disappointments even in that sphere of friendships, and make space. And if this is happening, release it. Don't try to hold such people or such affiliations, because Jupiter will bring really quality people to you after August, especially. Because Jupiter in the 11th house, every time Jupiter transits in my 11th house, and usually from a much weaker sign than Cancer, for me, in particular from my sun when it happened, I always meet new friends, and they're more quality people that I love. They're good, and especially for you, they'll be very good quality, because Jupiter in Cancer is the highest dignity. So people can enter in your life over the next 12 months that expand your horizons, that are like benefactors, that want to help you, that want to put embrace you and put, they have faith in you, they believe in you. That's why, because you're helped by those that believe in you during this period for the next 12 months, you can growth, expand, and you can fulfill certain dreams of yours. And I remember it was extremely profitable year when Jupiter was transiting my 11th house. So again, maybe not from June yet, because Jupiter is squared by Saturn, there might be actually some financial shakeup for you, and in your social environment as well, in the friends in your life, because it's a hard aspect. But after that, they only will do good aspects, Jupiter from Cancer. It will then trine Saturn towards the end of the year. And so I want to tell you, even if Jupiter in Cancer now in your 11th house starts a bit more shaky with uncertainty, or positive one moment, negative another, or the need to sacrifice something, eventually there will be growth, I think, financially, socially. I increased my following a lot when Jupiter was transiting my 11th house. I made new friends that I just met them then, and then a few years later we became closer and closer, because Jupiter is starting a new 12-year cycle in your 11th house of friendship, social connection, social circle. So you might meet now some people that will play a very important role, maybe not immediately in your life, but over the next 12 years, they can be like good karma from God to you in some way, like the good fairy mother. That's the 11th house, the fairy godmother, when Jupiter transits it. Goals, dreams, titles, and honors. You can achieve something like that over the next 11th house. So Virgo, there is very wonderful, great support as well. Your social life will improve, but initially, as I said, July, June, there can be the need to clip some off. So I would say don't make very big financial decisions now in June yet. But after that, there will be more and more positive opportunities for that. and somehow your social environment will change. I don't know why, but new people around you. And Venus is in your ninth house pretty much the whole of the month, just specifically for June. So you're protected. Venus is a very positive planet for you from a lucky house, looking at you, holding a trine, making sure you'll be okay, everything will be fine. To always look from the higher perspective and not get bogged down in the details right now. This is what will help you, or just the immediate situation that is right now. But know that have faith from a higher perspective. There is protection, like ninth house is connected to angels, the higher consciousness, that God is protecting you there. And in July, Uranus is going to move into your 10th house. So if you want to know how it's going to affect you, it will totally change this roles that you're playing, social roles in life, career. It will innovate, it spark, excited, but we'll talk about that next month. But if you want to dive in depth, I've recorded a 5-hour webinar of Uranus in Gemini. It directly affects Virgo. With a direct aspect, your life will become much more sparkly, exciting, different, unusual, sometimes disruptive, but in a revolutionary way. I pass through, say, if you have your Venus in Virgo, Uranus will square it. What does it mean? If you have your Saturn in Aquarius, Uranus will trine it. What does it mean? And real life stories, how it has manifested for other people with examples, not just theory. So it's only $20. Check it out. And after that it becomes 30. It's in the description below. But Saturn, Neptune, very big influence, and Jupiter in your 11th house. Saturn, Neptune in your 8th house for not just June, July, but the next 2-3 years, they'll be there together, with the strongest impulse being now this summer and then the winter of 2026. What did I want to say about Saturn, Neptune? Well, came out of my mind. There was something else there I wanted to share with you about it. But anyway, thank you so much.